Austin is often known by the slogan, "Keep Austin Weird." It is a city with an international reputation for creativity and innovation. Some, though, fear that cherished characterization may be in jeopardy. Is Keep Austin Weird still a realistic aspiration for the city? How would you preserve or strengthen what keeps Austin weird? Sheryl Cole.
Well, Austin is on the move, and part of the reason that we are on the move is because we engage our civic culture and we nurture it, and I think we should continue to do that. As far as keeping Austin weird, I don't think we have to work too hard to do that, because I think it's a lot of Austinites who grew up in this university like I did and stayed in Austin, and well, they're pretty weird. So, now, seriously though, I think there is a concern about our culture as we continue to grow, and it's very important that we also engage our musicians and our artists and the people that actually bring the character to the city to keep it vibrant and unique.
Steve Adler.
I began today by saying that I was concerned that Austin would lose what made it special, that its soul and spirit is in the balance, and we're at a tipping point, and I think that's true. San Francisco became the first city just a month or so ago where the median home price or value just went over $1 million. If we're not careful, that's the path we're on. If we're going to keep Austin special, and you can go anywhere in this country and say you're from Austin, and it means something to people. You can go lots of places in this world and say you're from Austin, and it means something. But that, we don't keep that. It just doesn't happen that we get to keep that. We have to make that happen. And this is an important time. We are at a critical juncture, and we have to decide what we're going to do to make that happen.
Todd Phelps.
Well, yeah, there's a reason that Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson and Stevie Ray Vaughan chose Austin to be their place and moved here. And we're not conforming to Nashville and other areas. And there are policies right now at the city that are standing in the way of us protecting and keeping that culture here. There's a policy that they do not want more music venues near residential areas. It's not part of, they're talking about a compact and connected vision, more vertical mixed use, and which that's fine, it's great. I want more TODs, more walkable communities, but we need to include music venues in these areas. There needs to be more little gyms like Don's Depot on the north side. I mean, Don's Depot's downtown, but stuff like that where people don't have to travel in and out of downtown to enjoy it. And if we're not going to allow these venues near residential areas, that's going to fly in the face of it.
That's time. Mike Martinez.
I think it's also about Austin being special, not just being weird. And we have to fight to preserve things like the Broken Spoke and the Little Longhorn and Lala's and Don's. Those are the things that we've done over the past. When new development came in and bought up all the property on West 5th Street where the Mean-Eyed Cat sits, we worked with that developer to ensure that they could have their development and take on some of the growth that's coming to Austin while preserving things like the Mean-Eyed Cat. You see the same example on South Lamar with the Broken Spoke. I think Austin has a very unique culture and character, and I agree. You go worldwide, everyone knows Austin. It is a very special place, but we have to fight to keep it special, and that's what I've done on the council for the last 8 years, and I'll continue to do that as mayor.
Randall Stevens.
Well, I too speak to the aesthetics, the weirdness of South Congress, the small business community, and I believe that low-rise is cool streets, and we have quite a bit of tall development, and it goes against, I think, the plan I heard about 10 years ago. I think that we've gone past that, but by making incentives or making it attractive for money, for developers to develop along East Ed Bluestein, as that new highway project moves along, will encourage more growth in business and sales tax revenue that will satisfy the city's needs. And the innovation district, so it's a bold idea, it's really a good idea. And I think that the facets of that innovation district, the innovation zone, can be extended to those new developments. And if we bring in small business employers, 1 to 500 employee sized companies into the periphery of Austin. I believe that will stimulate our economy, will create a new growth ring for the city.
And that's time.